So we're back for session 2, which is about building your 1 year from today plan. So let me just remind you that the data you're seeing on the screen is based on Clayton Thomas, a fictional business owner that a book I wrote, but we've put all roughly 10 years of his company's journey into the What Do You Think platform. So when we are looking today at the What Do You Think platform, we're looking at Clayton Thomas's instance of it as if he had worked on it for 10 years. So what is 1 year from today? I'm going to share with you, the platform is built around these 4 boxes you should see on your screen right now. To the left is Buffett Benchmark, and that is all about learning from the past. To the right is 1 year from today. That is all about focusing on the future. Everything I show you today about how this platform helps you build a more valuable and sellable business only asks 2 things of a business owner. Tell us what you did and tell us what you're going to do. These are totally in the wheelhouse of every business owner. Everybody knows what they did and everybody knows what they're going to do. I'm starting with what you're going to do. That's 1 year from today. It's exactly how the name sounds. And every time you want to create a new 1 year strategic vision for your business, you're going to create a 1 year from today. The ideal outcome for your business as you're following the private equity playbook, which in fact, let me just quickly show you what that is. Okay, let me just go here real fast. We have this is the Gathering of Giants one. This is the alumni program. We have one that's for the regional cohorts that are local, but it basically follows this trajectory of this is the private equity playbook. This is what they're looking for you to do to make your business more valuable. This is what it means to look at your business as an operator, not as an owner, not as an operator. And when you do all these, what we call KPRIs, key priorities we've identified in your business, and some of them you'll have done already, you don't need to do them, and some of them you haven't done. And in some cases, they're just not even appropriate for a business like yours, and you'll skip them. But each one of those undertakings we call 1 year from today. Now, the name is a little misleading because sometimes you can get these things done in 90 days or 6 months. You know, we don't have to be tied to 12 months, but the idea is they're significant undertakings, and that shows up in how they're viewed from the get-go. When I click on the update your 1 year from today button and I start a new 1 year from today, basically it's described as this. What's the one opportunity you would gladly spend the next year solving? Now, this is where the business owner's skill set shines, in our opinion. You understand your business deeply. You understand every corner of your business. You understand where you want to go. And I will say this, business owners are guilty of having secret agendas and known agendas. A known agenda could be, we want to hit $50 million in 3 years, or we want to have 10 more stores in year 3 or 4, or we want to have 5 new clients by the end of the year. Whatever it is, that's your known agenda, and you get your leadership team around it. What you don't always share with your team is the why. We want to get to $50 million in 3 years. Why? Because I want to put the company on the market. We want to get to 10 more stores in the next 3 years. Why? Because I want to put the company in the market. Birthing a Giants has been described by others as the safe place to design the next version of your company. We understand completely that there are things you would share with your leadership teams, and there are things you're just not ready to share. And so this is the place where you're in a room with peers, other business owners, and each of you have a similar agenda. Now, some of you are not secretive about it. When you say you want to get to $50 million so you can sell the company, you tell your teams, and it's a transparent process. Others of you, for a lot of reasons that are good reasons, don't do that. And so you need a place to let these ideas come out and let other people, both experts and peers, battle test your ideas before you put it into your 1 year from today. 1 year from today's take time. 1 year from today's take your time. They might require your capital. They might require other people's capital. They require leadership team's time. They are the things that you're going to put resources against, and you need a place to figure out what these things are. So I want to draw you back to where we left off after the last session, which is we were looking at Clayton. We were looking at this first part of the private equity playbook, what we call the founder-friendly roadmap for this example. And one of the examples we decided to drill down into was the concept of recurring revenues. And so this business owner, Clayton, wants to build out a recurring revenue program. And using this Create Your 1 Year from Today plan, he essentially has a dialogue with the curriculum, using help from the curriculum to help him build his plan. He may know what he wants to do. She may know what she wants to do, and they can write it out. But including their company summary here allows the plan builder to understand your company, and these ideas allow you to develop it. Once you've gotten to a point that you think is ready to be shared with the other experts in the room, the other peers in the room, the other business owners, not with your leadership team yet, but with the people you trust to get advice from, you want to draw this out into a full 1 year from today. So you click this Send to 1 Year from Today button, and it's going to send it right over to that page we were just on. And it simply drops, the way AI does, it drops the raw text into this 1 year from today opportunity. You are noticing right away this is automatically analyzing. What this means is it's asking you if there's enough detail in your plan for you to share it with the AI experts. This mimics the real world version of experts. You might sit with a business expert, somebody you trust, a mentor, an advisor, and you might say, I want to increase the recurring revenue by 20% over the next year, and here's how I'm going to do it. The first thing the expert's going to do, and you've all experienced this, is they're going to ask you questions. So what this ready to ask the experts box on the right is doing is essentially analyzing it and saying, do the AI experts, do the AI versions of real people like Doug Tatum or Norm Brodsky or myself, have enough information to actually tell you what they think? Remember, the platform's called What Do You Think? So you're trying to get to a certain score before you can tell them what you think. Funny enough, this box craves detail. And so the more detail you put in, sometimes the better or the higher or lower your score does. Now, AI has a problem. And the problem is some of us outsource our brains to AI in a way that's not appropriate. So even though AI has helped you construct this, you're always going to want to put yourself into it. You're always going to want to say, and I want to do this with the least amount of capital at risk because I'm broke. Whatever it is, you've got to tell it what it needs to know. AI is very good at making you sound smart, but it doesn't know everything about you. So you've got to make sure that the platform understands everything it can possibly know. The platform might look at this and say, if this is going to run in here, it's running a new analysis. It wouldn't surprise me if my score goes down because it doesn't know enough about what this means. What does it mean you're broke? And it's going to probably ding me for putting a statement in without a lot of information. We got to keep coming up with ways to put in the most information so that the AI experts have the most to work from. The platform helps you figure it out, but it doesn't do your thinking for you. Kept the score the same. One of the powerful tool things here, I'm going to generate a name based on the description above. It's calling it Achieving Goal, Increasing OptiGuards, and I'll call it Recurring Revs. And I'll save that. That's now the name of my 1 year from today. And again, this is an exercise we do in the class. This is why sitting in a group in a room with your peers is so valuable, is we ask you to get real detailed. So we say to you, okay, you've got this plan to build your recurring revenue, and you've detailed it out partly. And now it says, what else do I need to know? Well, Manny is the most important resource because he controls the operations. I need him to have the talent and staff he needs to execute. Maybe I would say something eliminating. I'm going to eliminate the role of Dan because he's not ready for this upgrade in our platform. Things you know about the business that no one else will know. Operations. We ask you to look at everything. Product, sales and marketing, financials. How will this increase revenues or profit? How will it increase productivity? How will it de-risk the business? Who does what? Technology. You do not have to fill out every one of these. That would be way too much. But everything you can possibly know about hiring, eliminating, moving, culture, personnel. And the platform will even help. Just by clicking this box, It's going to help me figure out, based on this plan, it's going to start me off. So all I have to do is click this, and it's going to actually read this content. Look how much my score went up as I started to put detail into it. It's going to read this content, and it's going to start to put content into the plan here. Now, you'll want to do that before you start personalizing it. But for example, under, what did I do? Where's personnel? It surfaced the ones it did on the top. Increased revenues and profit. It put that in there. Sales and marketing. Again, AI makes you look smart, but you have to put yourself into it. You say, I don't want to refine my service level agreements, or I don't want to refine my digital reporting tools. I'm not doing that. You have to be yourself. You have to put yourself into it. People. Yeah, I had put in, I'm going to eliminate the role of Dan. It kept that good. So I've taken all this time to modify this. I've said, also need to make those new hires. I have to put myself into it. The great thing about this platform is it does not need you to be a writer. It just needs you to be to know your business. Eventually, you get to a score that's above 60%, and now the experts will take a look at it. If you didn't get it to above 60%, it would recommend what you need to change to get there. It's recommending these three experts: Will, Norm, and Dale. Will has a background in marketing and sales. Norm is an overall entrepreneurship expert, and Dale is an expert in finance. But you can override these experts. I'm going to choose Norm, and I'm going to choose myself, because I think I'm pretty smart, and I'm going to choose Doug. These are the experts I've chosen. It recommends three experts. And I'm going to ask it now to use these experts to review my initial plan. I am asking these three AI versions of these experts, what do you think? What do you think? And it'll process it, and it'll tell me what these three gentlemen think. In this example, three men. And there it is. And this is a really fun feature. If I just click this, I can literally have a conversation with the experts, just a very natural one. I could say, Norm, why do you think that focusing heavily on cash discipline is the most important thing to do? I won't do that now. It's a hard demo to do over Zoom. But all you have to do is click this button, and you're having a regular conversation. What you're doing, though, is you're looking at the response from these three experts. And just like if you were sitting with Norm, Lewis, and Doug, you start taking notes. So you read this and you say, ground all pricing structures for recurring diagnostic and protective coding upkeep strictly in Clayton Thomas's foundational principles of cash discipline. Clayton Thomas Sr. is Clayton's father. He's in the book. Eliminate the role of Dan immediately. Here's a simple one. Okay, so it's as if I'm taking notes. I just saved this to my 1 year from today. I've just saved it. So my job now, after the experts reflect, is for me to read what they say and say, oh, that's interesting. That's all. I don't have to do everything they say. I don't have to even remember everything they say. I have to read it and say, set a clear rock. Rock is EOS language. I told it I'm an EOS company, so it's using EOS terminology. A rock is a goal in EOS terms. Set a clear rock to increase revenues by gives the organization a target, but it demands rigorous execution on the ground. You cannot afford to carry dead weight or misallocate resources. Good point, Norm. Here I'm reading mine by Lewis, and I say, to protect your cash position, you got to reflect your financial stability and discipline. Leverage my stellar record by building a proprietary Purdue University polymer formula. It knows a lot about my business because this Clayton has told them a lot about its business. It goes on to Doug. I could do the same thing with Doug. Leverage this. And then I can even, here, he says, my pricing structure must be rooted in disciplined financial foundations. I say, Doug, do you mean about financial discipline in my structure? Now, I want to give you a sense of what's happening right now. You are, like every other business owner, you have ideas when you have them. But we've just taught you about, for example, the importance of recurring revenue. And now you're having a conversation with multiple experts. I'll show you Doug's response in a moment. But you can do this whenever you want. You can do this at 2 a.m. This is whenever you have the idea. You now have access to a full suite of experts to help you set strategy whenever you're ready. And then he's talking about Clayton Thomas's foundational, Clayton Thomas Sr., that's Clayton's dad. So he actually knows Clayton Thomas Sr.'s foundational principles because of all the times that Clayton has used this platform. And so you can talk to people. After, you can talk to the experts. After you're done looking at what the experts have had to say, you're just at expert insights. The next is compare experts. This would be as if I said, I would like Norm and Doug, I'm going to skip me for now, to talk about my 1 year from today. So it's taking Norm and Doug, and it is synthesizing their agreement, areas of agreement and areas of disagreement. And now I can see their common themes and their key differences and their synthesized analysis. And I do the exact same thing. I say, oh, this is important. And I save it to my 1 year from today. And in a minute, you're going to see where these all these saved clippings go to. But my job is to know what I like and what I don't like. Doug believes in the EOS principles. Norm provides a deeper dive into specific operational interventions. Ultimately, these perspectives complement each other. So I just say the leader should adopt. So Doug is taking a cadence of accountability. And I've just gone through the conversation between these two experts and also clipped what I found interesting. And now I'm ready to go to finish and see all of the clips I grabbed from these people. So I see Doug Tatum's, what Doug said in the expert board synthesis, that conversation. I clipped this from Doug. He talked about high value tier one relationships. I clipped something from Lewis. I clipped things from Norm. And what I do now is I read all my clippings, just like I would read my notes on the way home from a meeting with these folks. And I say, yeah, this is interesting. I just need to, and make sure that Dan S is terminated. Whatever I think is missing, I get to put my own self into it. And then when I finally have it the way I want, I drop it into the canvas. Remember the canvas, that was the first page. People, operations, product, sales and marketing. And I say, this belongs in the people box. And there it goes. It shows up right in the people box. You're going to start to see that our canvas, which is made up of our initial statement. Remember this? I said this. I said, I don't want to do this with the least amount of capital because I'm broke. And then all these different statements are loosely put together on a canvas. It's called a canvas for a reason. It's sloppy. It doesn't have to be organized. Norm said this, and I'm going to put it into the operations box right here. Here, it just showed up. And it's all kind of sloppy. But what I've done is I've gone through an exercise of taking my plan that was driven from the curriculum. Remember, it was about recurring revenue, which I was just taught in the classroom. I've built my 1 year from today statement out of it. I've added things like people, operations, and product. And now I'm going to start synthesizing this into what we call Section 7. Section 7 is in our book. When we teach how to build a 1 year from today, we call it Section 7 because it used to be 7 sections before you got there. So it's kind of a remembrance of how we used to do things back in the old paper book days. I'm in Section 7. Remember, my clipboard and canvas contains a full canvas of this 1 year from today. In Section 7, I'm going to synthesize the entire canvas. I'm going to be able to up or down anything that I think is important. I think the people and culture stuff needs to be emphasized. I think the sales and marketing stuff can wait, is a little less important right now. I need to focus on resilience, or I can keep everything at 50%. I'm going to generate a 1 year from today statement. And now, again, AI is doing what AI is good at. AI is helping me take all my disparate thoughts and all those other experts and turning it into a nice organized memo. Very simple process. But again, I'm trying to organize my thoughts. I started with, okay, I learned about the importance of recurring revenue being very important to the private equity world, very important to the capital markets, because it's a de-risk type of revenue. I've taken my company and all the details about my company, asked to create a 1 year from today. I brought it into this 1 year from today process where I asked the experts to weigh in. The experts gave me good insight, and I've turned that into a thoughtful memo. I can turn this into this is a simple plan. I can turn it into an expanded plan where it has permission to go into more detail. And I can do section specific, just show me the people part or the operations part. I can export this if I want to. I can export this into Word or PDF. Remember I mentioned at the beginning markdown files. If you are a Claude user or ChatGPT user and you say, now I want to bring this into Claude, or I want to bring this into my company's AI platform, you can simply export the markdown file to do that. You can even start a new 1 year from today based on this, so that you can sort of go to version 2 of this plan if you wanted to. But what's also really interesting is, and this was a question that got asked earlier, all of this exists in a silo. It is just my view of this 1 year from today plan. But now I want to share it with people. And I can share it with people in my peer network. These are the other folks in the Birthing a Giants program. Everyone in the Birthing a Giants program is assigned an accountability partner. Clayton is fictional, so he does not have an accountability partner, but it would show up here. And in Birthing a Giants, we basically pair you up with another person for you to talk with them in between each session so that you stay accountable to each other. And I've put in this demo version of somebody, she's called Sally Coach. And what I'm doing at this moment is I'm going to give Sally Coach everything access to this plan. Let's take a moment to look at the different access levels. I can give Sally Coach, Sally's an agent, not a real person, but I can give her everything. I can give her redacted access where it takes away names and numbers. I can give her 50,000 feet, which is just a glossed over high level version of my plan. And I can basically give her no access, which is just a way of saying, I'm giving this to my leadership team, but one member of my leadership team, I don't really want them to have access to it. So I'm just telling her she has access to it without actually giving her access to it. This is where you and your leadership team, it's up to you. We don't know how you operate. You may have a number 2, your chief operations officer or your chief of staff, who knows everything, and therefore you want them to know everything. You may have other people on your leadership team who you just don't want them to know everything. You want them to know the high level. Or there are people in your leadership team you simply will never send this kind of thing to. You know better than others. You can give site-wide access to a user, or you can give access to a very specific 1 year from today, like I'm about to give Sally everything access. And you see she now has everything access. And now Sally has gotten an email. Again, she's an agent, but if she were a real person, she would have gotten an email that says that Clayton has just invited you to review this 1 year from today plan. When she logs on to the platform, she won't see what you see. She sees an invitees version. She sees your plan, and then all she can really do is comment on parts of your plan, and she can just comment on the plan in general. And she can also do something that's pretty cool, and I'll show you because you can do the exact same thing. You can talk to your plan. So Sally, you can see now Sally has access. We're going to wait for her to make some comments because she's an agent. She's doing it in real time. But in the meantime, you can talk to your plan. This is you talking to your own plan. What would I have to get done in the next 90 days for this to be a reality? And you can literally talk to your own plan. Funny enough, anyone you invite to your plan can talk to the plan too. And they can talk to it where you don't see what they're saying. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the fact that your people who work for you sometimes don't want to ask you what they want to ask the plan. So you can come in and present in this example, because you don't see what they're asking when they talk to your 1 year from today. They can ask all their quote unquote dumb questions. They can say, how does this affect my department? They can say, how do I talk the boss out of this plan? It's a bad idea. They can say, what are the vulnerabilities that the boss didn't tell me about? They can ask the things that they wouldn't ask in public. This is one part of how we ensure that your ideas actually find their way to the business owner. And you can see when you asked the plan about a 90-day roadmap, it gave you the roadmap. So the plan is, you can talk to your own plan, and your own team can even talk to your plan. That's how the 1 year from today plan goes all the way from being an idea that comes out of our private equity playbook. In this example, we use recurring revenue, into a plan that's applied to your company given its age and stage, into a laid out, thoughtful plan that experts from the Birthing Giants faculty have weighed in on, that you've had the opportunity to share it with a trusted advisor, a mentor, a coach, someone outside the Birthing a Giants system, maybe your number 2, maybe your entire leadership team, whoever you think should have it shared with, to get feedback. And you build this recurring loop. Now let's take a look at what Sally had to say, because it'll show up in the network feedback section. So Sally had these comments. People section, you explicitly call out terminating DNS. It's giving, this is as if Sally read it, or maybe your number 2 read it, or your trusted advisor read it, and they left you with comments. And you essentially send these comments back into the canvas if you think they belong there. So if I think this belongs there, I will save it to my 1 year from today. And it dropped it back into that canvas that I created earlier. I can send this entire thing to the canvas. I can send to the people part. And so if I go back to my canvas, you will see Sally's comments here now. These are things that Sally said. Why does that matter? Because I have Sally in here, and I have all the other comments I have from earlier, Align, Cloverdale, Factory, Scalability, all the things that went into section 7. And now that I've got Sally's comments, and maybe it's taken a week or 2 to get them here, I'm going to put Sally's comments into the people box, and it's been added to the people box right here. And all I do when I'm ready, when I've collected everyone's comments, I go back to section 7, and I basically can reset these how I see fit and regenerate my 1 year from today statement. And it's going to regenerate this section 7 box right now, and it did already. And it includes the comments of the other people that I dropped in there. And again, I can share this, reshare this with my network. Eventually, with this circular process, you get it to where you want it to be. That's the whole 1 year from today crafting process, from idea, meaning what we teach you in the classroom, to your own implementation of it, given your company's age and stage. And now I'm going to show you the last piece of this journey, which is called handoff, where you hand it off to your team. And you click here to do that, but I will also show you how easily it can be done from my company section of the site, where there's a few things we're going to talk about. But one is in company setup, you've connected the company to the Aptive Index platform. This is going to be relevant in a second. And when you go to my company, you go to the section called the handoff, or you could have just gone there from the button. And you can see that I've asked these 3 people, Sam, Kiz, and Manny, to take the Aptive assessment. Now, what is Aptive? Aptive is a lot like Colby or DISC or Myers-Briggs, Predictive Index, Culture Index. It essentially is a short 7-minute assessment that each of these individuals did. So when I added a team member here, I could add in a name, email, their department, and their level, senior, middle, or junior, just some basic information. And it will send an email to them inviting them to take the Aptive Index. Why is that worthwhile? You'll see in a moment. I've got Sam, Kiz, and Manny, and me, the boss, Clayton, assessed in here. Let me tell you where plans fall down. You've built this plan based on the private equity playbook. You've had the AI versions of the experts, Doug Tatum or Norm Brodsky or even me, give you their thoughts on it. You've shared it with other people. You shared it with a trusted advisor or mentor. You could have shared it with an investment banker or M&A advisor you're working with. You share it with the people you trust who you think are smart. They give you their feedback. You reincorporate it back into your 1 year from today plan. And now it's come time to deploy it to the people who will actually get the work done. Okay, this is the transition from you as owner to the team members that are going to actually implement the plan. And all you have to do is click here, and you see there's that goal here, achieve goal, increasing OptiGuard's revenues. And these are the past ones I've done in the past. I can do it for either one in real time. I could just click here. I can choose which team members I want to have evaluated. This is not sending it to them. This is analyzing them as contributors to your company, their personalities, and this particular plan. And so here I've got one already done. It only takes about a minute. I'll show you. But here's one that's already been created, and it tells you how to make this plan work with Sam, where he'll quietly create risk. It'll show you how to make it work with Kiz, where to trust her instincts, where she'll create risks, how to communicate the plan with Kiz, with Manny, and even the collective team strengths for this particular 1 year from today plan, and the collective team's missing for this particular 1 year from today plan. It tells you what they can do well and what they can't do well. It even tells you, this is me, Clayton, how to conduct this orchestra, how to speak to Sam, Kiz, and Manny. Then I can ask a follow-up question. I can say, should I present this plan to kids privately first or with everyone else? You know these people better than anybody, so that you're the right person to think of these questions. And it's going to look at Kiz's personality assessment, and it's going to look at this plan, and it's going to tell you what it thinks about this question. Let's see if it gets there. Present to Kiz privately first, and here's why that matters. So what are you looking at right now? You're looking at, let's just go to the one I did up here before. This is the brand new one we just did. All the way to the top. This is the create 20% recurring revenue growth. Same thing, Sam, Kiz, Manny, because I asked it to evaluate all of them, Clayton, what this team is missing, and then I can ask follow-up questions. What you're looking at, folks, is the first platform ever in the world that allows a business owner to learn something, recurring revenue, the importance of it to the private equity world, apply it to their company's age and stage, expose it to AI experts for the AI versions of experts in business for their feedback, send it to some trusted advisors, real human beings, ask them, what do you think? And then when finally the plan is dialed in, to actually see how your leadership team, given its particular personality profiles, will implement. Now, think about how we do things now. We read a book. We might want our team to do some of it. We don't exactly know how to explain it to them. We haven't asked any experts whether it's right for a company, or maybe we had breakfast with an advisor and we asked them what they thought. Eventually, we sit with our team and we say, hey, I want you to do this, X, Y, and Z. It gets partially communicated. It's very, poorly thought out. Who knows where the idea came from to begin with? I mean, is it a real private equity or capital markets de-risking idea? We don't know. And finally, with the handoff, it finally lets you say, okay, these are the real human beings that have to help me do it. How do I get them to do it? You have just seen in the last 30 minutes how Birthing a Giant's uniquely, and only for one aspect of what it does, helps you create 1 year from today plans. Now, when we get together at 12 o'clock Eastern time, 30 minutes from now, I'm going to take questions in a moment. But when we get together, I'm going to show you how doing the same thing for the past, the Buffett benchmark, allows you to create a documentation of what you really did. Okay, this 1 year from today plan is a plan. It's what you're going to do. It's aspirational. In the Buffett benchmark, we're going to track what you did. And when you do the things you said you were going to do, it will show up in that founder-friendly capital research report that I shared with you at the beginning of this program today, a document that will allow a potential buyer or investment banker, or even you, see how much progress you have made and what you did. The founder-friendly capital research report measures what you did. So the next thing for us to do together is to see how what you said you were going to do this 1 year from today, which is unique. Nobody in the country has access to the 1 year from today process except for Birthing a Giant's folks. And then we're going to talk about what you did.